I was born in patriotic Kanpur and then went to Allahabad for my horizons to be expanded at Mayor Hostel, and I did my law degree from there. Thereafter, it was logical. I had done C certificate in NCC and was an under officer. So it was a logical thing to think of getting into IPS. But all these years, I was allotted to Jammu and Kashmir. I was the first person, direct recruit, to be allotted to Jammu and Kashmir. So, but after that, after going to Jammu and Kashmir, it was a riyasat of the Maharaja earlier, and therefore it had restrictive use of outsiders. But since I was allotted there for the rest of my career, so what happened was that we always rued that Article 370 was discriminatory to us, and we never thought that the kind of conditions that prevailed, that we never thought that it would be possible to have any changes in the local setup. And since I was with the local government, but two changes recently. One, that Balakot strikes, they have changed the whole paradigm of Indo-Pak relations, and Pakistan has been the most organized and fountainhead of terrorism in Kashmir, which has changed their whole place. So that was one. So the security forces and us were very, sort of satisfied. We had been demanding it long back and all that, but nobody listened to us. So after the Pulwama strike, this was a game-changing development. The second was, of course, much to our surprise, although very bold decision of the Indian Parliament to abolish Article 370. So all these two factors really prompted me to go. And another one was my late wife, Veena. She always thought that we had spent more than 3 decades in the new area of Jammu and Kashmir. So we should write our experiences, which would be entirely different from the experiences of any IPS officer in any other state. So that was another factor that prompted me to write about the book. Article 370 was introduced after the Indian Constitution, and it was introduced as a lateral kind of development. It was actually a restriction on the Indian Constitution, because Article 370 said temporary provisions for the state of Jammu and Kashmir, in which all the central laws were not to directly apply to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but were to be okayed by the state legislature. To that extent, it was to my mind unconstitutional that a central constitution was subservient to the J&K's constitution. And also the flag, they had a different flag. They had, Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, these are the three regions which are entirely different in their language, in their culture, in their main religion, Jammu being Hindu and Kashmir being Muslim and Ladakh being mostly Buddhist. So, but during Maharaja's time, it had been integrated by them. Now, after the Maharaja, it became very difficult because the kind of politicians that emerged from there and the central relationships that were turbulent in Jammu and Kashmir with the central government. Although central government was the main person for the defense of the Jammu and Kashmir and for the internal security of Jammu and Kashmir and for the foreign affairs of Jammu and Kashmir and for the internal security. But somehow or the other, the soft separatist politicians who ruled Kashmir all through never even thought of integrating with India. They wanted to have a Kashmiriyat, and most of them talked to Pakistan or even give us more autonomy. There could not be anything more than the autonomy granted under the 370 article. And therefore, they were also, kind of blackmailing the central government for their existence. And that is what created a very difficult situation in Jammu and Kashmir. We thought that at a given point of time, we were, being discriminated against, although we had to spend almost our lifetime and we were managing the affairs. But there was a divide between the local officers and the IPS officers directly recruited. So when I came to Jammu, it was such an experience that they would ask me as to how many days I was to be there, because all locals were given IAS, IPS, or they were in state services, dominating the whole scene. And that is how Kashmir was not integrated with India really after 1947. This was new to Kashmir for an officer, and they were certainly not very helpful in those circumstances. But the fact that I remained for first 10 years of my career, speaks that I made some kind of good working relationships with the state. I was post haste called after the war without any leave or anything, and then when I landed up at Pathankot, I had to hire a rickshaw to go to the bus stand. And when I went to the bus stand, there was that 2.5 hours, 3 hours journey. And when I reached Jammu, there was nobody to make a contact with. So I took another rickshaw and went to the Central Police Office in Kachi Chowni. And then I reported there to the DIG as I had been asked to. So the DIG, who was a local but a little more understanding, he also asked me, Puttar kinne din de vaste aaya? Means how many days would you spend in this? when I told him that I was to spend a lifetime here, so he started taking interest in me. And then thereafter, the most important problem was my accommodation. So there were locals were all living in their own homes because outsiders were never allowed to buy land or to build a house. So what happened was that I was very stressed on this, that there was no accommodation available. So what they did was they vacated one of the storerooms of the office and then asked me to occupy that temporarily for that. There was no other available accommodation. So for 4-5 months, I had to live in that. My career really took off from Jammu itself. And my 10 years, first as trainee in Jammu, and then ASP headquarters, then as additional SP, then for more than 5 years as SSP. It was such a turbulent place that my predecessors, 6 of them had, been transferred or suspended. 2 of them were suspended within 3 years of this thing. Jammu is very closest to the Pakistani
Yes.
border. In fact, 7 police stations of Jammu rural, they are all having borders with Pakistan. Another place was across the Manawar Tavi River. We had a police station called Cham, and that was taken over by the Pakistanis, and Indian Army put up a stout resistance on this side, because they always surprised us right from 47, because that was from land connection with them. It was a 64 square kilometers of territory with about 40,000 population, which is a very fertile area. General Bakshi, Zorawar Chand Bakshi, who had local connections also, he was a brilliant soldier. We had interaction for preparation of the war with him, and he had said that, I don't accept it as a dagger. It's a chicken's neck which we will wring without any problem in the case of a war. And he also assured us that, as far as Jammu is concerned, because in 1965 war, there were air raids. Even this time there were air raids and, war on the close by borders. And our houses would rattle, in that war, the whole of Jammu. But this time we had assured the populace that you don't have to run away, because 65 was a new experience for them. Jammu and Kashmir had been a, war zone. Pakistan always tried to infiltrate in small numbers and all that. At the time of partition, as we call it, 15th August was our Independence Day, but it was on 26th of October that the Maharaja completely agreed. They never could reconcile to this idea. So Jammu and Kashmir always remained a disturbed area, and with the soft separatist politician in that place, who were also in a way blackmailing the central government, that without them nothing could happen in Kashmir and there'll be difficult times and all that. So that is the factor that we experienced during all our career while I was there, right after the time that I left the state.